Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to go over the command Xargs. If you're new to Linux and you're not kind of familiar with it, I definitely recommend adding this command to your repertoire. It will just enable you to do so many different things very easily. So in this video, I'll go over a few examples, such as looking through a bunch of files, a list of, let's say, DNS and doing queries on them, or a list of, like, say, my lab servers and running a command across all of those using Xargs. So what it does is you use Xargs to kind of formulate or generate new commands and run them. And which, I guess, if you're kind of new and you're trying to kind of see it, it can be a little bit, maybe a little bit unsure. So let's get an example here. Let's look at all the files under etc. We just want the file type. F. There we go. So now if you use like just the egrep on this, and let's say looking for conf, it'll look through each line, like each individual line like this, and just spit out the ones that contain that text, right? So there we go. Versus Xargs egrep comp, what's going to happen is it's going to generate a new egrep command with this at the end of it and use egrep like that and look inside the file. So that's kind of how egrep works. Like if you just run it like this, right, it's just looking for your standard input, and if it finds that text string you're looking for, it'll spit it out. Versus if you use it like this, let's say root ssh config, I'm going to look inside that file for any line that contains the word root. Right, so this is kind of the difference when using Xargs like this. It's generating this command and running that and looking inside each file. So, like, case in point, recently I was getting these monthly reports emailed to me. I need to update the email, and I jump on the server. I look in the cron tab, and there's like nothing. I look in everyone's cron tab, system cron tabs, and there's nothing. I'm like, what? Right? So, my email address has to be configured somewhere. Most of the configuration files on Linux is under etc. I'm just going to brute force look through all the files under etc for my email address and go from there, right? And so example would be, now I use -i a lot, which lets you kind of say where you want it to be. So I'm going to egrep. I'm going to go for not real email. email.com, and then that would be the file name, which is coming from the first one. That's what -i does, which I kind of like it for formatting, but also for other things. If you need it, whatever command you're generating, you don't want it to be at the end, the output from the first command. You want it like somewhere in between. This is what you'd use -i for, which I'll give an example later. Let's say running commands on a bunch of servers, right? So now we just run this. Oh, sorry, we don't want actually the line. We want egrep to tell me what file did you find that in. There we go. So for some reason, I was getting it, it was set up in here, right? And actually you can see here, it was monthly log rotates, and it's running some script and then mailing me, the report. So now I can just update that, or maybe remove it and put it in cron tab, but whatever. So something that could have been much more difficult to figure out, it just took seconds, literally seconds to resolve this and update it and fix it. So yeah, you can kind of hopefully start to see how great Xargs is. So like here's another example. Let's see. I have, let's say, a very old underpowered Raspberry Pi with a Squid proxy on it, and I have let's see, a huge, let's see how many list of domains I want blocked. So this one has like 5 million, and the proxy's a little sluggish, and I want to query all of these domains, 5 million of them, and remove the ones that don't exist anymore. So you can actually use this with Xargs. Like, let's say we would figure out what our command's going to be first. I want to use a dig. I want nothing but just the answer, right? And let's just do test.com. And there we go. We just get our answer, right? If we put in something that shouldn't exist, we get nothing at all. So this is perfect, right? So let's just do cat that one, send this to Xargs, do our dig, all plus answer, and each domain's going to go there, and it's going to spit out our answer if it has an answer or not, right? And there we go. And say if I want to create a new list, then maybe I should just take the first column. Let's do this one like that, and then we probably don't want the little period at the end. That's going to mess up stuff. So we can remove that. Something like, let's see, it's going to be the probably slash end of the line like that there. And then since we're getting, some might have multiple answers, let's just take a unique on that and then just dump that to our new list, right? And there we go. And you can kind of just let that run. It's going to take a while. It's 5 million lines. Oh, also, if you're doing this at home, yeah, maybe don't do that against your local ISP's DNS servers. You send them 5 million DNS requests. They might frown upon that. Cloudflare or Google probably won't care too much. Right, so there's another example. You can just set that up, let it run, come back, get your new list. Maybe I removed a million domains that don't have an answer anymore. And then now this is a little slow. Xargs has a great flag or option we can add in there, which I want to show you. Is you can tell it to run, like right now what it'll do, it'll take one line, run the command, get the answer. Take the next line, run the command, get the answer. But you can let it tell Xargs you can generate as many processes as you want. You can give a number like this, like that, or you can just put 0 and tell it to generate as many as it wants. I think there's a limit like 2 billion. It won't make 2 billion. You're going to be limited probably by CPU. We can take a look at that. Let's see here. Let's go here, here, here. Okay. All right. So if we see this, see how it's going a lot faster now. So we don't need to fill up our thing here. Let's just send it to here for now. Right. But you can see how much faster it was, and then you see it's kind of going. But let's see how many processes are we getting. We can see that here. Let's go like this, and we do, let's see, a watch-n1. Let's do how many digs are going like that, I think. Let's see. There we go. We have like 50, 60, 40. These are how many dig commands are currently being run. So instead of running one at a time, now this little VM has 4 cores and they're kind of older CPU, but it's handling a lot more, so it's going to chunk through that. The only thing, if you're using this, you got to remember your output can be in a different order, right, than what the file you're sending, depending on what commands finish first and whatnot. But yeah, so that's a great command to speed things up. Just be careful, what you're running it on. It could be it could be using all your CPU, and if it's a production machine, maybe you don't want that, and maybe right. But yeah, that's a great command. Now there's one neat little trick with Xargs you should be aware of that I do end up using once in a while. It's because sometimes you can have very long formatted commands you want to run, but when you do run stuff with Xargs, right, and you pipe it like this, it's depending what you run, it's going to run that through all the output. So like here's an example how. Let's just generate one here. Let's say I'll do this, and we'll do test.com, right? Now let's say whatever you're running, and you want the last couple lines, let's say like N3. Okay, you want these, there's actually 3 lines of blank line, but let's say you want that, right, as an example. Now if you do your Xargs command and do tail-N3, you're only going to get 3 lines. It's going to run all your different domain queries and then give you just the 3 lines at the end. But what you want, let's say in our example, is I want the 3 lines from each DNS query, right? So you can still do that. There's just a neat little trick that it's good to be aware of, so that sometimes you might have to pull it out of your back pocket and be like, oh, okay, this is what I want. So this is using running the shell command with Xargs. So let's try this here. See if I can get it. Xargs-i, and we're going to do a shell. Need the -c, pretty important. Do the dig. Oops. Plus, I think, no stat. That's what I had before. Yes. and then this is going to be the DNS, the domain from the first one, and we're going to tail that -n3. All right, so this will create a new shell, run that command, and spit back the last 3 lines from the output. See? Beautiful. Of course, you can also just generate as many shells as you want. All right, I better not let that run too long. This is domains being blocked, which you can imagine what some of them are. But we can just send that to /dev/null. And yeah, you should see our CPU should go. And there you go. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. So yeah, so that's the couple things, right? So -I with Xargs, where you can kind of generate your command and where you want the output from the earlier one to go. -p for a number of processes, which, I mean, we all want more speed. And I guess another one I should cover is -t. That'll actually kind of spit out the actual command it's generating and then run. So let's see. Yeah, so here's a good example. So here's my lab servers, and let's say I want to run a command across all of them. So Xargs, we'll do -i ssh, and this is why you see we want the server name to go there, but we're still running other commands after it, right? OS release, right? And got a bunch of, oops, yeah. And then let's see, I want to do grep for the pretty name, right? So you can see this is right, but then what if I want to, what OS or what lab server is that coming from? So if you add -t, it'll actually print out the command that it's running, and then you get the output after it, which some people are already watching this and be like, hey, wait, you're grepping for pretty name. How in the hell? Well, what -t does is it puts the command through standard error. So not the, right? So if you want to send that to a file, you're going to have to also pipe standard error to the file also. But yeah, now the only thing with that is it doesn't work so well with if you want as many processes as you want, because it's going to just generate all the processes and then, I mean, run faster, but it's not kind of in the nice order that this was, right? So yeah, that's kind of the only other thing I wanted to mention with Xargs is sometimes you might run into some I guess certain characters Xargs has an issue with. So there's the -null, right? And you can print stuff out with find-print-o. I've never had to really run into issues like this myself, but that is depending on what kind of files you're processing. Maybe that's a thing. But yeah, it's just a short little video. That's kind of I just really wanted to introduce Xargs to new people. It is so great. And if you are downloading downloading the stuff here, yeah, just be careful. Don't run all those 5 million domains against your local ISP. They may not like that, but you know, maybe get a smaller list and try that. But anyways, just want to say thanks for watching. I hope I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.